All right, we're live. So this is Paul DeWarian from Awesome Dynamic, and with me we have Tim DeWarian, also with Awesome Dynamic. He happens to be my brother. Say hi,
Hello.
Tim.
Hello, hello.
And today we're going to be talking about Amazon.com, how to sell on there, secrets revealed. And all that really means is we're going to talk about what we know because we know a lot of stuff that a lot of people don't know. And we also have Blake here. Blake, do you want to unmute and say hello and wave?
Hello, people.
All right. Blake is also with Awesome Dynamic, and he's working from Florida, right?
Sweaty South Florida, yes, sir.
Sweaty South Florida. That's correct. So, without any further ado, we're going to go ahead and take a look at Tim's slideshow presentation on Amazon. I want to. Here's Robin's actually joining us as well. So let me get her in as somebody who can speak as well. So Robin, bear with me for just a minute. Get you in here. All right. So what we're going to do, I'm going to monitor the questions here. For those of you that are joining us, and I'm going to repeat this several times, you have the ability, if you're logged in with your Google account and have logged into this webinar, you have the ability to ask questions. On the lower right side, you'll see an area where it says Ask a Question. If you post your question in there, we'll be able to see that, and we'll put the question up for everyone to see. And then we'll be able to comment on that question as well. Robin, you want to say hello? Oh, she's just putting her headset on. Say hello, Robin.
Hello.
She's joining us from Highland Park, Illinois. And, oh, I think we just lost Robin. And Blake is now on mute. Anyway, that's okay. So going back to asking questions, again, the way you do that, lower right-hand corner of this webinar, there's a blue button down here that you're able to click on that says Ask a Question, and then we'll be able to see those on our end. We'll be able to answer those questions going through the webinar. So if we don't have any questions, we're going to go right through our slide presentation. But we love questions. We love to answer your specific questions, and we'll be able to do that for you. So I'm going to show you a little bit how that works. We have Blake just put greetings from sweaty Florida. And if I click select here, then we can see it appears in the upper right here as greetings, and then after I'm done answering, I click done. You'll actually be able to jump through this video by looking at answered questions later on down the line on YouTube. So some of these other questions, Robin asked, why is Amazon so hard? And we're gonna go through some of the different intricacies of how to use Amazon. So anyway, Tim, I'm going to try and get Robin back in here. So I'm going to have your screen present, and I'll let you get started with the initial presentation. Does that sound good, Tim?
Sounds good to me.
All right.
All right. So, selling on Amazon. We like to say that it's like printing cash. So, Amazon is a great way to be able to get in front of a lot more people than you would be able to get through normal e-commerce sites. A lot of people always complain about not being able to get exposure. People don't come to their website. You can use SEO tactics to be able to drive more traffic to your website, but Amazon is already has millions of customers visiting there every day. So, getting in front of those millions of customers is really big. The other thing is, people are very wary about where they use their credit card or personal information online. So Amazon provides a credible place for people to trust giving their information to be able to purchase products. So it makes that process just a lot easier to be able to be a credible seller. All right, so some basics about selling on Amazon. There are two basic things that you need to know about how to sell your product on Amazon. Essentially, Amazon has two different items that you need to be aware of. It's a listing versus an offer. So a listing is a product that is being sold on Amazon. It's the page that has usually the photo on the left-hand side, has all the bullet points and all the detailed information in the middle, and then further down below is more details along with reviews and all of that information. The offer is the people who have one of these to sell. And usually when you're starting off, if you're the only one who sells this product, then you'll probably be the only offer on that listing. But if you are trying to sell something that is very popular on Amazon, it's very likely that you'll be competing with other offers to be able to sell your product on that particular listing. And this is where something called the buy box comes in, but we'll kind of get into that a little bit more later. The other thing that you can do to help control your I just want to say hi really quick to all the new viewers who just stopped in. We just started.
Tim, I wanted to make a quick mention here, Tim, that we now have a few more viewers here, and I wanted to reiterate that if you're here, I'll be pointing for just a second. We're going to present to everyone. Hello, everyone. So on the lower right corner of your screen down here, if you're logged in with your Google account, there's going to be a blue button that says that you can click to ask a question. So if you click on that button down there and click to ask a question, we'll see it on our end, and then we can put the question up for everyone to see, and we'll answer that question for you. So again, if you're logged in with your Google account down there, you'll be able to do that. So Tim, we're going to go back to you, and then when we have another question come up or some more viewers, I'll let you know, Tim, and then we'll address that again, okay?
Okay, great.
All right, let's get back to the brand registry, and we're back on your slide.
All right, so now the big thing about listing is that anyone can contribute their information. So let's say if there's 5 different sellers with 5 different offers on a particular listing, each seller can contribute their own information, like their own photos, their own descriptions, their own bullet points, their own titles to all the different. It basically uses that information to build the listing. So the only way, let's say this is your product that's being sold on Amazon, you can apply for what's called a brand registry, which will allow you to basically take full control over that listing so that no one else can change that information. So we've had actually one particular client that was frustrated with someone always with their product being listed multiple times and just had poor descriptions and poor photos, and it just they felt that it reflected bad on them, and so what we did was we assisted them in registering all their products under their brand, and it was a huge help to get their basically have a unified image, and it's a good thing to do, but Amazon has certain restrictions as to how you can apply for the brand registry program. Generally, you have to have a website that shows that you manufacture the product, and you have to actually show that you own the trademark for that product. They have a whole application process, and but we've been very successful getting many of our clients on brand registry.
All right, Tim, I'm going to pause you there for just a second, and
Sure.
As we go from point to point, we'll just pause for a second to see if there's anything new happening. We do have, it looks like we have another new viewer here, and Robin made the point that the button that I was pointing to in the lower right-hand corner to ask a question is not blue in color, it's actually green. So click the green button to ask a question, and then those will come through and we'll be able to answer those questions. Also, if you're having trouble asking questions using that because you're not logged in with your Google account or some other technical difficulty, feel free to email me, paul@awesomedynamic.com, with your question. I'll be watching my email, or if you go to our Facebook page and send us a message or a Facebook message to me, I'll be monitoring those different avenues as well to get those questions. So, Tim, I'm going to hand it back to you, and we'll review the categories, okay?
All right. So, in addition to brand registry, one of the other basics on Amazon is knowing what categories you can and cannot sell in. Amazon has dozens of different categories and subcategories, and some of which are very, very restrictive, and you require approval before you can even start selling in them. For example, a couple that we know, food. To be able to sell in the food or grocery section, you need prior approval. In order to sell in the automotive section, you need prior approval. But every category has its own specific requirements. And the good thing is Amazon has a lot of help articles on their dashboard to help you navigate through that. But Yeah, it's something just to keep in mind. Might want to research what the requirements are to be able to sell your product in the particular category that you want to do it. And just as a side note, when you do list a product, it can only go into one category. A lot of people always ask, can I list in multiple categories? Because some products maybe fit in both storage as well as home. Two different categories are fairly similar, and the answer is no. The way that Amazon has it set up is you can only be listed in one category. So, we generally recommend doing some research to find out which one you might compete in best before you choose which one to do. So yeah, just like I said, some require approval. Also, some do require a professional merchant account. Amazon, whenever you close a sale, Amazon will generally take $1 in addition to their commission, other fees. But the Pro Merchant account, which costs $40 a year, will unlock a lot of things. One is it takes away that one extra dollar that they take as a fee for every single sale. Plus, there are certain categories that you can only sell in if you're a Pro Merchant. Pro Merchant account also unlocks a lot of additional reporting features, a lot of, I believe, more tax information, so it makes your annual taxes a lot easier. And in general, the Pro Merchant account is what we recommend, especially if you're at least selling, if you plan on selling at least 40 units a month, then it's a no-brainer to go with the Pro Merchant accounts.
Right, and Tim, I wanted to jump in there on that one. So
Sure.
essentially, with the Pro Merchant, you can list the new products, and if you don't want to pay that $40 a month until you get established, you can shut it off after you get all your products listed. And then when you do start reaching that 40 units per month, that's kind of like the moment where it makes more sense to pay the $40 a month, because if you're selling more than 40 units, you're paying that dollar per unit, so you're actually spending more money. So that makes sense to drop into the Pro Merchant account at that point. So usually that tip over is at 40 units a month. But if you go into selling on Amazon with the intention of selling more than 40 units per month from the get-go and really get everything set up right, then you shouldn't have to do that switching back and forth. But it is an option. That's something you can do. But as Tim said, there are some requirements that necessitate having a Pro Merchant account to even sell at all. So in those categories, you can't do that rock back and forth between a free and Pro Merchant account. So Tim, let's jump at your next bullet. There is jumping into the buy box. But before we get in there, I see our viewer count has changed again. So I'll reiterate that on the right side of your screen, if you're logged into your Google account, you'll see down here there's a green button that says ask a question, and if you put that question in, we'll be able to put that up on the screen in the upper right, and we'll answer your specific questions about Amazon.com and how to sell on there, or anything else that you have, we'll answer to the best of our ability. So just keep in mind that button is down there. You're logged in with your Google account, you'll be able to ask those questions. So Tim, we're going to jump back to you. Why don't you talk about the buy box and show us an example as well, so we can kind of get that visual connectivity there. Sound good?
I don't have an example ready. I can see if I can find one.
Well, you know what? I'll pull one up while you talk about it. How's that sound?
Okay, sounds good. All right. So as I mentioned before, oftentimes there are several different offers for a particular listing, and which offer gets what Amazon calls buy box. There's a lot of requirements. There's a lot of variables that go into whether or not you will what's called win the buy box. So, and like I said, the buy box is just essentially it's the person that is the first offer on that particular listing. Oftentimes, some basics that help affect whether or not you win the buy box include your price. So if you're the lowest price, maybe even offer the lowest cost shipping options. Usually that will help you win the buy box. Your performance as a seller. Amazon is really, really big on making sure that you perform very well. Make sure that you have no negative feedback. Make sure that you respond to customer inquiries in a good amount of time. Make sure you ship out things on time. But probably the most important thing, and the thing that we see that impacts the most on the buy box, is using Amazon's fulfillment options, which is called Fulfillment by Amazon. to be able to offer your product with a lot of huge benefits to the buyer, which we will go into a lot of detail later into Amazon's FBA program. But if you offer your programs or offer your products through FBA, that is probably the biggest thing that we see that helps you win the buy box more often than not.
Now,
All right.
Tim, we got Blake. Blake, we're going to show Blake's screen. You could take yourself off of mute, Blake, and we're going to present your screen. Blake, would you go back one screen here?
Sure.
All right. And Blake's pulled up a set of Legos here. It's a helicopter limousine. And the buy box essentially means you have this little thing at the bottom. It's not really noticeable on the lower left where it says 7 new from $189 and 2 collectible from $66.50. And then if you go up a little bit where it says only 1 left in stock and it says shipped and sold by Acme Lego, this is the person. If you were to click add to cart right now, you'd be buying from one of 9 different sellers. And the buy box essentially means that this Acme Lego company has priced themselves or has the certain combination of factors in terms of their seller performance, pricing, etc., that they have won the first position here. So it's not really that obvious to the buyer. To the buyer, they're just looking at this, oh, it's $189. Visually they kind of scan around the screen. That looks like the best price. A lot of people don't even click on that 7 new down there to see what their other options are. But Blake, go ahead and click on that. So if we click on this 7 new, we'll see that here's several other sellers. So that first one is the Acme Lego, followed by looks like Planet Fun Toys, followed by Ginger Harvest, followed by World's Best. And none of these are actually Amazon.com. They're all individual sellers from different areas selling this exact same item, but the reason why the first person came up, that Acme Lego, is a different combination of factors. Big one is the price, which is Blake is circling with his mouse there, $189.99 plus $5.04 shipping. That is the best price with price and shipping out of all the other combinations that are here, and that's likely why they've won the buy box. Now, let's say you have a whole bunch of people that are at the same price or even off, maybe the price is different by $5 or $10. If you look down, Blake, would you highlight that prime symbol that's down there?
Yes, sir.
So there's one prime symbol there. That's not highlightable. That's fine.
Yeah.
This prime symbol and then the one underneath, there's another one there. Those 2 sellers actually have shipped this item into Amazon, and they're sitting in an Amazon warehouse. And you can see on the right where Blake is highlighted, fulfillment by Amazon, which means that qualifies for the free 2-day shipping if you're an Amazon Prime customer. Or if you're not a Prime customer, you get the free Super Saver shipping, 3 to 5 day shipping. So if those 2 sellers had put their price close to, they could probably even put it at $189. They could probably put it at $195, maybe $200. Maybe not $200, but if they got close to that price, Amazon would likely bump them all the way up to the top, and that would be the buy box over the person who had the cheaper price. They also have other factors going for them, which is they have 100% review status, and you can see Acme only has 95, and there's a whole bunch of other customer service performance metrics Amazon rates you on, such as how quickly you get back to somebody, among other things, that really tie into who gets the buy box. And again, the buy box is the person that has their product presented first, and that has a huge impact on how many sales you make, especially if you're competing on the same item. Tim, is there anything I missed on that, or Blake, do you have any additional comments on that?
I think you covered most of it. What I would point out is if, for example, if Acme had bumped this price up to, let's say, $225, $230, regardless of shipping, like Paul said, these 2 people with Prime are most likely going to get the buy box, even though they're $15, $20 above Acme. And that's because I don't think we know the exact specifics of Amazon. I think they keep it hidden, but I think if you're within 5 or 10%, the person that has the best metrics, and including Prime, which is essentially shipping your products to Amazon's warehouse, so they have full control of when they ship it and deal with customer service, and they like that control. And because of that, there's a very high chance you're going to get the buy box over someone who doesn't ship their product to Amazon and have the Prime logo and the Fulfillment by Amazon area. But yes, I think you covered most very well.
Okay, thank you, Blake. Tim, did you have any additional comments on that?
No, I think we hit on all the main points. Yeah, I
Okay.
think it's the seller feedback, having high seller performance, have the lowest price plus shipping, and then using the FBA program. Those are the 4 biggest things that will highly impact your buy box eligibility.
Okay, great. So we'll just do a quick pause. Tim, I'm going to go back to your slide here, presenting that to the folks watching the webinar.
Okay.
And I wanted to, I'll come back to here so I can point to that lower right-hand corner. Down there, there's a green button. If you click on that green button, if you're logged in with your Google account, you can ask us a question, and we'll be able to answer that question live in the webinar here. So again, green button, ask a question. You can post that. We'll answer that question. Until we get one, we're going to continue on here. Tim, take it away with how to sell on Amazon.
All right, so now the meat and potatoes. It's like, okay, exactly how do you sell on Amazon? Well, essentially, Amazon has 2 different ways of offering to be able to sell your product on Amazon. One is seller self-fulfillment, or what they call merchant fulfillment, and that's where when an order comes through Amazon, you get notified of it, and what you have to do is then pack and ship your product, and then mark on Amazon that you have shipped the product. Provide tracking information if applicable, and you are then responsible for all the feedback, or all the customer service and returns and all of that. The other option is to use Amazon's Fulfillment by Amazon, or FBA, which we'll be talking a lot about. And the FBA program is essentially where instead of you shipping the product directly to the customer, you actually ship your inventory into Amazon, into their several different warehouses throughout the country, and then whenever an order comes in, they will process the order, they will ship it out, and they will take care of any customer service, and there's a lot of other benefits to doing it, which we'll go into quite a bit later. Do we want to? I have a video here. I don't know if it's going to be able to come through in here to show how Amazon's FBA program works. Do you want to play that, Paul?
Sure. How long is it, by the way?
It is. It is.
Why don't you play it on mute?
3 minutes
Just
long?
go ahead and play it on mute. We can comment on it as it's playing.
Okay.
And what exactly are we going to see in this as it's going here?
This is kind of explaining how the FBA program works. Kind of shows what the whole process is of getting from beginning to end. So it's gonna just show making your products available for FBA, shipping them into their fulfillment centers, and what really happens.
Okay, and as you saw in that last snippet on the screen, a lot of people ship from their warehouse or their home to the customers of Amazon directly, and with this FBA service, you're actually shipping direct to Amazon warehouses. They tell you, which houses to ship to. They're pointing to these labels here where you actually sticker your own inventory and send it in, or they can actually do the stickering for you. Of course, they charge for that. But yeah, then they essentially take over all customer service. They do all the customer service. They do all the shipping. If there's any returns, they handle those for you too. So you can see that they're very happy with their giant smiley face if you use the FBA program. But yeah, Tim, we'll post a link to this video in the comments of the webinar here, and let's go ahead and move on to the next portion here.
All right. A second here.
And while you're doing that, I wanted to again talk about how you can post questions on the lower right side of your screen if you're logged in with your Google account viewing this webinar, and post a question. If someone out there other than my staff would post a question just to say hello, or hey, this is whoever, just to let us know that it's working, that would be good. It's working for my staff, but I haven't gotten any questions or comments through the question thing on this Google Hangout from anyone else. So we'd love to hear from you. Just tell us who you are and what company you're with, and we'll certainly say hello on the webinar here. So Tim, go ahead and take it away with FBA. How will it work?
All right. So I'm going to leave the video kind of playing in the background here, but just some very important details about FBA and how it actually works. So the first thing that you want to make sure is people ask us if they can use FBA to be able to sell unique items. So something that's like a handcrafted one-off item. Unfortunately, Amazon really isn't set up to do that. Amazon is really designed to sell high volume of the same item over and over again. So essentially what you want to do is, if you want to be able to use the FBA program, you have to pack everything into, you have to pre-package all your inventory into shippable units, exactly how they're going to go to the customer. So that means making sure you have the proper box, proper padding if it's something fragile, and you have to ship it into Amazon exactly how you want it to be shipped to the customer, essentially. Then once you have everything all packaged up, then you need to ship in your inventory into Amazon's multiple different warehouses. In fact, the video is right at that section where you can see, Amazon has tons of warehouses throughout the country, so you would send it into all the different warehouses. Amazon dictates how, what things go or what products go where, but usually Amazon will make sure those get distributed based on where they think the most sales will be. And that's to make sure that when a customer places an order, that they can ship out and the customer will receive the product within a very short time period, especially with that Prime, next day shipping or 2-day shipping that they offer. So when you ship your product into Amazon's warehouses, they have several different options to do so. Depending on the volume that you're sending in, you either can do truck shipments, LTL or FTL shipments, or you can use Amazon's discounted inbound UPS rates. So the UPS rates are very, very favorable. On the order of, Paul, would you say like somewhere around 40% of what normal retail UPS rates are?
I think it's even deeper discount than that.
Wow. Okay.
I believe. I remember some of the products because we have a different business that all it does is Amazon products, and I know that we get products in from, I want to say, Seattle, Washington, a case for $25, and then we'll send that same case, same products into Amazon, and it'll cost us like $6-7 to send it in. So it's a significant discount on the shipping rate. Blake, did you have a comment on that too?
I think it's about 75% off at times, depending on where you're at in the nation. But yes, it is deeply discounted, past 50% if I'm not mistaken.
All right.
It's in Florida, it's almost 75% off. So it's very favorable to use Amazon's partnership with UPS.
Fantastic. Thank you, Blake. I wanted to take a quick pause here. Thank you to those folks. We had Shelly from Snarfy Foods and Eric Cardona both commented. Shelly, here, I'll put it up on the screen so you can see Shelly said hi, test. So thank you very much, Shelly. And we have Eric Cardona here. He said working fine. So those are working just fine. So again, thank you for putting those through. I know that it's working. And if you have any specific questions that as we're going through here, please post those. We'd love to answer your questions. Tim, go ahead and continue, please.
All right. So after you ship all your product into Amazon's warehouse, then as we talked about previously, essentially Amazon will store your product and ship it out among all the other products that a customer would order. So think of it as your product will go into a box with every other product that that customer just ordered on that particular order. So you're going to be intermingled with, let's say, a pair of socks and a deck of cards or whatever else is going to go to that particular customer. So make sure that you pack your product in a way that it will be able to survive a trip via UPS or DHL or FedEx or USPS. They ship in multiple different ways from their warehouses to the customer. But yeah, you just need to make sure that your product is prepped properly so that it will survive that trip. And Amazon has a lot of documentation on how to make sure you prep your product specifically, and they have certain requirements for different categories like food products, liquid products. One big example is if you are selling something in a liquid container, if it's more than 5 ounces, it can't be in glass. That's one thing that we have learned that is really important to make sure you follow. The big problem with selling, and I wouldn't say it's so much of a problem, but the big restriction with selling on Amazon is you really need to make sure you read and understand their policies, which can be a minefield to navigate because there's lots of different policies for different categories, especially if you use their FBA program. And that's something that having worked with well over several customers getting their product added to Amazon, we've learned quite a lot in terms of what you can and cannot do.
I would comment on that, Tim. The glass products is one thing. There's like Tim had mentioned, there's approvals to get into certain categories. And Amazon is extremely strict on their sellers. They are the #1 trusted online retailer in the world for a reason, and that reason is they make sure that the customer service and the customer service is provided by people who sell on their website, and the products that are sold are of the highest quality. So if they do find out that there's any customer service issues, or the quality of the products are fake or forfeit or anything like that, or there's any sort of big red flags, they will kick you off. They have no problem with that. They want to maintain a high level of quality and maintain that image of being a very trusted retailer online. Tim, I'm going to throw that back to you.
All right, so why would you want to sell an FBA? Let's say you have a good process already in place for shipping your own product out, really is a benefit. And we've kind of already touched on a bunch of the pros of using the FBA program. First of all, it's a huge benefit because you'll get more exposure to Amazon Prime customers. So an Amazon Prime customer, which we'll go into detail in another slide, but one of the big benefits of being a Prime customer is if you're purchasing a product that is offered through FBA, then you'll be able to get a lot of the like free shipping benefits. You'll be able to get fast shipping options. So customers tend to gravitate towards those particular products that are offered through FBA. And in fact, it's sometimes done to an extreme. In fact, oftentimes done to an extreme where some customers will filter out, so the only products that are offered through FBA and will have that free Prime shipping they'll filter out anything that does not have that option. So if you're not on FBA, you could be missing out on a lot of customers who automatically filter out anyone who doesn't do FBA. So that's a really big reason that you would want to do FBA.
I wanted to comment on that for a second, Tim.
Sure.
One of our largest customers was doing sales on Amazon when we first met with them back in 2012. They did $200,000 a year in most of their product. They had 200 different products up there. They were doing $200,000 a year in sales, and most of their product was self-fulfill. And they were working at a warehouse here in Libertyville, and they were spending a lot of time and money on employees packing things up. And once we converted them to FBA during 2013, they more than tripled their sales. They were at $900,000 at the end of 2013. In 2014, they bought completely into FBA, and they keep their inventories up quite a bit with them. In 2014, they did $1.97 million in sales, and I just heard from them yesterday they hit the $2 million mark for 2015 as of yesterday. So they're on track to make close to $5 million on Amazon in sales this year. So FBA has completely changed their business on Amazon, and they exclusively use FBA. They don't ship anything self-fulfill anymore. Because it's really just a great program. Tim, go ahead and take it away with the customer service handling.
Yep. So as Paul mentioned, there's if you fulfill yourself, that means that you have to actually handle all your customer service. So if you use the FBA program and a customer calls in because they want to return the item, or there's a problem with the transaction, or what have you, Amazon will take care of the customer service for you. Every once in a while, they have to get you involved if it's a one-off situation. But for the most part, Amazon will handle everything in terms of getting the product shipped back, verifying that the product is in a condition to either put back into regular inventory and sell again, or put it in an option for you to ship it back to you, which is really cheap. It's 50 cents generally a unit to have a defective unit shipped back to you, so you can inspect it, maybe relist it as a used item. It's just the cost of doing that is very favorable. And then, as we mentioned back with the Amazon Prime customer benefits, is it's fast and free shipping for customers who use Amazon Prime, and even for non-Prime customers. If they spend usually over $35, I believe it is, then they qualify for free Super Saver shipping on every FBA item that they purchase.
That is correct.
All right, so a couple cons, just really quick here, is it does generally result in higher fulfillment fees, but we found that most customers are willing to pay a little bit extra to get something that's Prime eligible, and you can oftentimes recoup your additional fees by just raising your price slightly. Automatic returns, we did have one customer who sold a product, or is selling a product that has different variations depending on what their use case is, and they really don't have a way of intervening and trying to basically qualify a customer before they ship a product or return it. They pretty much just return the product for almost any reason, and so they're generally pretty good about it, but we have had some incidences where sometimes they return a product and it's not for a very good reason. But the one-off chance that happens is very low, especially at the high volume that most people are selling at. That it's less than 1% of products. Usually it's 1 to 2% of products get returned, so it's very low return rates. All right, Paul, do you want to add anything before we move on?
Well, if you go back, Tim.
Yeah.
The other con about using FBA is that you would make more money than if you weren't. Wait, that's not really a con, is it? So that should be under the pros. Sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. Go to the next slide.
Okay. All right. Okay, so why does Amazon Prime actually matter to you? First of all, as of 2014, there are over 10 million Amazon Prime members. So that is growing day by day. Amazon keeps on adding a lot more benefits to the Prime program, which is getting people to sign on every single day. So being in front of those customers and offering your product with free shipping and all those other benefits is huge. Most Amazon Prime customers spend over $1,200 a year on Amazon. Whereas compared, and I just have this note here, compared to about $505 per year for non-Prime customers. So, Prime customers generally spend, I find that myself doing this all the time. Sometimes I might need some household goods like toothpaste or shampoo or anything like that. Generally, I will see if it's available on Amazon, and because of the Prime shipping, it will get here in 2 days. And even if it costs maybe a little bit extra, just the convenience of being able to just add it to my order and get it shipped out right away and not have to add it to my list and remember to get it later on the week when I go out shopping, it's just a huge convenience to be able to just buy even my household goods through Amazon.
Hey, Tim, I wanted to comment on that and put Robin's question up here. Robin asked, can you set your own return policy if you're using Amazon FBA? Here's the question here. Can you set your own return policy? And Tim, can you comment on what you know on that?
Yes. So if you are in Amazon's FBA program, no, you do not get to set your own return policy. But if you are if you do fulfill your own products, you do have some degree of latitude of being able to set your own return policies. But Amazon does have certain requirements, minimums. For specifics on exactly what those are, I'd have to look them up. But I do know that you have a little bit more leeway with setting return policies if you do merchant fulfillments.
Right. And I also wanted to add another comment to that, being that we have worked with some customers that were very focused on the fact that folks were returning their products, and there would be maybe one or two a month, and they were getting very upset about it. And we reiterated to them, let's focus on the volume of sale. Part of selling is that people will return products. So, obviously we want to do the best we can to make sure that we're delivering a high quality product that meets our customers' expectation, so therefore they wouldn't return the item. And we helped this particular customer of ours tweak their product listing title as well as the description to better communicate to potential buyers of that product what exactly they're getting, which really cut down on the amount of returns they did. He also has a special email. He sells a product that has many different sizes, and usually when the customer selects the product, they might not know exactly what size they're getting for what they need. So he took it upon himself to come up with a letter that he sends through Amazon system saying, you purchased size B, and this will only fit this type of thing that you might have at home. Are you sure that this is the right size? These are the exact dimensions. So every time he gets the order, he sends that, and that has drastically reduced the amount of returns that he's gotten. And it also allows him to communicate directly with his customers, and it has resulted in getting more 5-star reviews on his seller account and on his product because he's proactively communicating with his customers on Amazon. So, so again, talking about the return policy, I had another thought there. On the return policy, you can indicate what you would like to do, but like Tim said, there are minimums that Amazon accepts, and usually you want to have a very lenient, forgiving return policy, because that's what Amazon's philosophy is: make the customers happy. I know on some of the products we've sold on Amazon, if someone wasn't happy with a product, rather than risking them giving us a 5-star review, which could tank our sales, we just
review.
a 1-star review that could possibly tank our sales on an item in the pace at which it sells. As soon as I get the inkling that someone's not happy with the product, I immediately refund their money, tell them to keep the product, and I ask them if there's anything else that we could send them that would make them happy that's in our product line. And we've gotten tremendous results from that. People would respond back, not only did they refund my money because I was unhappy with the product, but they also gave me some options of other items, and I was very happy with their customer service. And that's the profile that you want to build on Amazon to be a very strong seller that gets preferential treatment from Amazon, especially when you're selling in competitive categories and in on competitive products. So I hope that answers the question there, Robin. If you have any others, please post them. I'm going to hit done on that. And Tim, go ahead and continue on the Amazon Prime and why it matters.
Okay. So we were just talking about, just how important it is for you to make your product available on FBA. And as we had mentioned earlier, if you are offering your product on Prime, then you will not be filtered out when a Prime customer will look for products that are only available through the Prime shipping. So that's another reason why it matters. Another one is, as I mentioned earlier, also, it's just very convenient for Prime customers to just go on Amazon either on their phone or on their computer or whatever device. Even this new Amazon Echo device, they can even add products via voice. They can just say, add deodorant to my Amazon shopping list, and Amazon will automatically add it. So all you have to do is just click on checkout, and it'll be on its way. So it's extremely convenient. Yeah, those are pretty much the big things just to keep in mind for why you really want to cater to these Amazon Prime customers. Anything to add? Did you have anything to add, Paul, before I move on to costs?
I did.
It costs to do FBA?
I did. So you had made the comment earlier on that slide that there's some folks that will spend more money for products on Amazon versus going to their local store. So I have two comments on that. Number one, a lot of people, there's reasons for this. Some of the reason is it could be laziness. Another reason could be convenience, just a matter of convenience. When I ordered my dog food off of Amazon, rather than getting in the car, driving to the pet food store, getting out of the car, going into the pet food store, getting a 50-pound bag of food, dragging it up to the counter, getting it scanned, dragging it out to the car, putting it in the trunk, driving home, dragging it out of the car into my house. I could just for $3 more than the $50, I could spend 53 on Amazon, and it would show up on my door 2 days later, and I just drag it in the house. So it essentially saves me 30 minutes of time and hauling this 50-pound bag of dog food all over the place for $2, $2 or $3, which is, to me, very worthwhile. Now, I do hear from a lot of folks that are very local business. They want to support local business, which I am also for as well. But they'll look at Amazon and selling on Amazon as a way that's hurting local business. Well, I have a very unique perspective on that, where some of these local retailers can turn Amazon into another revenue stream and bring revenue into their business and into their community by opening up their product line to a national or international target audience rather than just their local town. So that's something where, and even if you're a local business and you put your products online, you could even tell your local customers, order from me on Amazon rather than some of the other people that are out there. But the perspective that I like to bring to it is local folks can open up their doors and open up their products to millions of people all over the United States, rather than having a very tight target geographical focus to their town, and create a new revenue stream which will strengthen their position in the community as a local business. So, Tim, we're going to move right on to the cost of FBA, but before we do that, I wanted to comment that the viewer number has changed again, and wanted to reiterate that if you do have any questions, there's a green button in the lower right-hand corner if you're logged in with your Gmail account, where you can post questions, and we will be happy to answer them. We have about 13 minutes left in this webinar, so we're going to get through as much as we can before we have to wrap things up. So, Tim, what is the cost of FBA?
So the cost of being in the FBA program is, if you're a pro merchant, then it's going to be $40 a month. These are just general costs for anything, whether or not you're on the FBA program. But Amazon will always charge you 15% of the sale price as their commission. So that's just taken right off the top. And then there's different FBA fees depending. There's a lot of variables that figure out what your fees are. Let's see if I can get this chart pulled up. Maybe I didn't put the chart in. Of course I didn't.
Sorry, Tim, you can just speak to it rather than putting it in.
Yeah, so Amazon generally will charge you a rate based on the size and weight of the particular box that you ship into Amazon. So, and that can vary greatly depending on whether it's really, really large, really, really heavy. It's just to give you an example, the FBA fee for something that's about 1.5 pounds, that is maybe about a 12-inch cube, so a foot cube box, would probably cost you about $1.59 in shipping costs, plus $1 to handle, and then $1.04 to pick and pack. So something like that would probably result in a total FBA cost of about $3.50 to $4, plus that 15% off of the top of it. And again, every product is different depending on the weight and the size of that particular package. Amazon tells you exactly how to calculate that in their help section. Plus, they also have a tool online called the FBA fee calculator. So if the product you plan on selling already exists on Amazon, you can actually punch in your numbers and see about how much margin you're going to have based after FBA fees are taken into consideration. And then, as we talked about before, sorry, to skip the storage fee. So the storage fee is 35 cents per cubic foot per month, which is generally better than most warehouse storage that we have found. What about you, Paul? I know that you've done some checking into this before.
Yeah, it's extremely extremely reasonable shipping, or I'm sorry, storage fees. I know that compared to what I've seen out there, it's very inexpensive. That where it becomes expensive is if you have things that take up a lot of cubic feet. I know we had a customer that was storing quite a few very large units that were 2 square foot or larger that weren't selling. So if you have any inventory that's just sitting there not selling, that's what you don't want. And they average that 35 cent, the cubic foot per month. They average that over the 30 or 31 days in the month, or 28 if you're in February or whatever. They average that, and then whatever the average is, that's what they apply that 35 cents to. So don't look at it as a storage facility, but usually they recommend if you don't have if you have a product that moves pretty quickly, you want to stock up on a half year to a year's worth of product if you can. You don't have to. You can certainly do more of a just-in-time inventory type model, but if you can stock up, it is inexpensive, and it saves you some storage space in your own facility. In our Amazon business, everything that we have for our inventory is all in Amazon warehouses, and I think we have. Tim, I don't know where it is, but I think it's over 1,500 units stored in Amazon warehouses across the United States. So those aren't in our office or somebody's basement or anything like that. It's all sitting in Amazon, and we pay a fee, but I think it's like $40 a month. It's really inexpensive. It's not a lot of money.
Mhm.
Have had some comments from both Robin and a few other people that the webinar cut out, but they seem to have been able to refresh and get back in. Here, Shelly posted, seems to have lost the webinar, and then she posted she got it back. So that's good. So those of you that are listening right now, we have the button in the lower right-hand corner. If you're logged in with your Google account, you can post a question. We have 8 minutes left for this webinar. Tim, how many slides do we have left?
I'm about a little over halfway through, but there's a lot of just additional information that's not quite as important towards the end. So
okay,
let me get through this stuff.
Well, I wanted to open it up for any questions here, just so people have a chance to ask questions. I know we haven't seen any come through, so I wanted to just pause here, see if anybody had any specific questions that we can answer right now. So please post that on the right-hand side, green button. If you're logged in with your Google account, you can post a question, and we'll be able to answer that. If I don't see something come through here as I'm talking, we'll let Tim continue right up through the end time of 1:30 p.m. Central Time. All right, I'm not seeing anything come through here. So, Tim, go ahead and continue with what you were talking about.
All right. So the other cost of FBA is their inbound shipping rates, which we've already gone over, is about 70% off of normal UPS rates. So what are the costs if you self-fulfill? Again, if you want to do the Pro Merchant account, it's $40 a month. Plus the commission on every single sale is 15%, just like the other one. Then the shipping cost is on you. So you would have to select who you want to ship your product through, and you have to either pass that shipping charge on to the customer. You can offer free shipping, but again, then you would have to essentially pay for the shipping. And yeah, that's exactly why I iterated, is that either the seller or buyer pays. Amazon strongly recommends that you add tracking to all your shipping. That will definitely add another cost to how much it will be to ship your product. And this is the big hidden cost that we have found, is there's just not nearly as much exposure if you fulfill your products yourself. Do you want to add anything, Paul, before I go to the next slide?
No, let's proceed, please.
All right. So we talked earlier about your seller performance, and Amazon has this thing called a seller performance rating, and this is because Amazon expects really high performance from their third-party sellers. They have certain targets that you have to meet to be able to even qualify to sell on Amazon, so it's really important to keep those metrics really high. So, for example, they want to make sure that your order defect rate is below 1%. So that means that there's no defect upon arrival to the customer. There's no late shipment, anything like that. There's a lot of things that go into whether the order is defective or not. Then the pre-fulfillment cancel rate, which basically means if you or the customer cancels the product before it's shipped, so you want to make sure you ship out a product as soon or as quickly as possible, as soon as you receive that order. And then late shipment. So Amazon would like to see you ship out your product within 24 to 48 hours of receiving an order. So if 4% of your orders are over that target, then that can definitely impact your performance metrics. Another big metric is, as we mentioned before, response time to buyer messages needs to be less than 24 hours. And seller feedback impact. This is where if you do receive negative feedback on your seller accounts, that also goes into what your performance rating is.
Tim, we have a question here from Shelly. Posting that up here. 15% commission. What about credit card processing charge? Is that included?
Amazon is the credit card processor, so they're the ones that handle all the fees and everything. That does not get passed on to the seller whatsoever.
So yeah, that is all wrapped in there. So that 15% is their cut of your sale, the credit card fees, the fact that you're listing on their site, and they actually do some SEO on your behalf. You'll notice if you post products and you do some Google searches, they actually do some pay-per-click advertising for many of their different products. If you look at that paid per-click advertising on the right side of Google. So that's all kind of part of that 15% commission. And we do have another question here from Robin. Robin says, can you cancel often on a competitor's products and then leave them bad reviews? And I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that, Robin. Can you cancel often on competitor products and leave them bad reviews? I'm not quite clear what you mean there, Robin. Robin, if you want to join the this side of it, I could answer that question better. Or if you could type out a better explanation here so I can understand better. Sorry, I didn't understand your question, but I'd love to answer it. I just don't understand. So please, if you could rephrase the. Please ask the plaintiff to rephrase the question. Then we'll go ahead and answer that. We have 2 minutes left, so hopefully Robin gets that rephrased question back into us. Tim, is there anything else you wanted to address on this slide?
Yeah, just as you mentioned before, is that seller performance affects your buy box eligibility and how well your product ranks. So those are very important things to make sure you keep those ratings up.
All right, and here we have Robin's clarification. So their pre-fulfillment cancel rate is higher than 2.5%. I see what she's saying. So if you order from a competitor and then cancel, and you cancel your order from that seller, can you artificially increase their pre-fulfillment cancel rate? And as I understand the pre-fulfillment cancel rate, that's if the seller cancels the order prior to fulfilling it. So that's not that particular performance metric is not tied to FBA. It's actually tied to so that doesn't even apply to FBA sellers if they're exclusively selling FBA. The pre-fulfillment cancel rate is for self-fulfillment people. So essentially, Robin, if you placed an order and the seller canceled it on you before they fulfilled the shipment to you, then they would get penalized for that pre-fulfillment cancel. Tim, is my understanding of that correct?
I believe so.
Okay, so yeah, you can't artificially do that, but good. Yeah, it's always interesting to know all the different angles that exist. We have 1 more minute left, so before let's go ahead and wrap it up here. Tim, any general comments about Amazon, or Blake, any general comments you'd like to make before we wrap it up here?
One comment I wanted to make was Amazon's storage potential if you do use FBA. Down here in Florida, when we used Amazon FBA, storing locally was not an option prior to even looking up FBA because it was just so expensive, like $500 for a mini air-conditioned unit, because what we were selling couldn't just be in the Florida heat and humidity. It had to be in not necessarily air conditioned, but the only option was almost an outdoor facility versus an indoor, which they usually air condition it. But the price difference from storing on Amazon to locally, at least here in Florida, was night and day. I mean, it almost cut the business out of being an option because of the store. We couldn't store what we wanted to in our apartment, and we had to look for other options, and it was kind of discouraging seeing how expensive storage was. But then Amazon's was just so low, but you can't typically store stuff there for more than a year before Amazon actually charges you I think a hefty fee. So that's something to consider, that you can't store it there indefinitely, but for the year that you can, it's very cheap. I almost encourage anyone to check their local price of storing, outside of your own home or apartment versus Amazon. You'll see how competitive it is.
Thank you for that comment, Blake. And I know the temperature of the storage is really sensitive for Shelly, who's been on this webinar. She has baked goods that she does sell. I know she's considering selling on Amazon. Amazon does allow FBA for foods that melt, and they actually have different times of the year where they allow meltable inventory based on the temperature of the warehouses that they have. So I've seen those messages come through because my company is approved to sell foods. So I know they have a meltable FBA window of time where you can have your products there. And just to comment quickly on what Blake said, they also have hefty fees if you have your stuff stored with Amazon longer than a year. I don't know what they call it, but I know it's a pretty big fee for I think it's long-term storage fees or something.
That's
like
exactly
that.
it.
So, right.
All right, so to wrap it up here, thank you all for attending. If you liked this webinar on Amazon and you would like to, yeah, we're still on. I just thought we got dropped off here. Tim just changed his screen. So if you like this webinar on Amazon and you want to learn more, please email me. Let me know that you want to see more, and we can certainly schedule more webinars about Amazon specifically, but perhaps we could get through the rest of our slide deck there. But and please visit our website, awesomedynamic.com. Again, that's awesomedynamic.com. And there's right on the homepage, there's an area where you can join the Awesome List. You just put in your name and email address and what types of topics you're interested in, and that'll drive some of the different events that we might do. Here, I'm going to put Blake's screen up because he's showing it. You can join the different events that we have. We have webinar events. We have live events. Blake, would you scroll down to the area where the Awesome List is? You can see the Get on the Awesome List and Notify Me About, and then you have the different areas here. So as we see demand for different types of topics, we'll certainly do webinars or events revolving around those items. So thank you again. The website is awesomedynamic.com. Thank you for joining us. And Tim, Blake, say goodbye.
Thank you for joining us, everyone. We hope you had a pleasurable experience with our wealth of information.
All right.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. All right. See you guys later. Bye-bye.